Alright, so today I'm going to put a video together that's going to be a resource for my lifters, basically about how to go over the single arm row, which is the exercise that I prescribe to initiate the learning about how to sit the shoulder properly in the socket. A lot of the cues that go along with traditional rows, things like shoulders back and down, can be really dysfunctional and damaging in the long run. You lose the coordination of your shoulder blade, your scapula working with the joint. You lose the proper way your lat and your rotator cuff kind of work together to stabilize the shoulder. And you also lose the integration of the rib cage to create rotation, which is one of the basis of functional movement. So I'm going to go through the cues and I'm going to use the band here. So in terms of resistance, I tend to work it back just so I've got the right amount of tension on the band, so I'm in equilibrium. So I can just kind of sit back a little bit. I'm not overpowering the band backwards. It's not pulling me forwards as well. So I can just keep my feet underneath my hips. I can drop my hips very slightly back. And I can just kind of lean against the band very, very gently here. Now, the cue for the shoulders, initially, the first position we want to get to is width. Okay, so if you have your shoulders too far forward, they'll squeeze together. And if you also have them too far back, they'll also squeeze together. You want to take them to this widest point that they can reach, which is right in the middle. So you're always thinking wide. That's going to make the shoulder blades sit in the right sort of position on the rib cage and not sort of squeeze them out of the equation if we do the shoulders back and down cue. So, first thing, the band is just sort of pulling me into a little bit of rotation, a little bit of protraction. I'm just going to sit the shoulders to that width position that we just talked about there. So once that's set, the next thing that's going to happen is the elbow is going to row underneath my shoulder. Okay? If we row too far back, I'll lose the shoulder forward. Okay? And this is the last thing we want. We want to keep that shoulder in a neutral position. And really what I'm thinking about as I do this is a tilt. So if that's tilted forward, I'm thinking about tilting it backwards rather than squeezing it backwards. Literally a 3-second storm just happened. So the shoulder's going to sit back to the Y position, elbow's going to come underneath the shoulder, and I'm thinking about tilting backwards. If we can get that tilt, okay, even just at this position, you're going to get a huge squeeze of the lats, you're going to feel the rotator cuff working and the tension around your shoulder blade, and it's going to give you more stimulus than if you over row like this anyway. Okay, so here we go, shoulder wide, elbow under, thinking about that tilt. Keeping my forearm parallel to the ground, so I'm not overusing the bicep, overusing the tricep to keep it here. Okay. Now to go through the full row and the full mechanics to integrate the rib cage, I'm going to add a little bit of rotation just to the squeeze here. Okay. I like to use my opposite arm in reciprocation. Elbow, back, tilt, rotation. Now the compensation pattern for the rotation is to let the hips drop back like this. We need to make sure that we're counter-rotating. So if I'm thinking the right side of my rib cage is going backwards, the right pelvis has got to pull forwards. So I'm always thinking about keeping my knees together and in line. You can put a foam roller or a medicine ball in between your knees and squeeze them. Sometimes that will help you get that same feedback. This way we're going to link the adductors to the obliques, and that's what's going to help with the functional movement. So, repetitions wise, if you get it done correctly and with the right tensions, the first rep should be quite challenging and tough to do. You get a big squeeze, and we don't need to do that many to learn the positions. So usually something like 3 to 5 reps with just the proper attention to all those cues I've talked about, keeping neutral spine, it's not letting your back arch or your pelvis tilt. If we pay attention to all of those, my lat is absolutely screaming. I've got tension around the shoulder and in the shoulder blade. I've got working my obliques, and like I said, in my adductors as well. So we're working the whole anterior oblique sling system, as well as the main thing that we're trying to get out of this, which is learn how to cue the shoulder appropriately into that socket.